Steve
and Rachel
from
Ace Trainers Classic.
Yeah, so we were at training the other day and people were asking about what do they do when they get their dog out of the car before they come on the field. And I was trying to describe my thought process of what I do with my dog when I get him out of the car before I come on the field. And I just see it went right over their head about collars and what you should use and what you should not use and what you should do. And I'm talking
And
about,
most importantly, setting a routine for your dog.
yeah, and trial
When
prep.
you work.
It's really trial prep is what it's based around. I always say you should train exactly like you trial. And I'm talking about, people always have debates about the dog being trial wise. He knows he's in a trial because he doesn't have the motivational device on his neck, or he doesn't have a training collar on his neck, or he doesn't have whatever on his neck. And so what people have come up with, and I'm talking 25 years ago, I debated this fact. So everybody says, or not everybody, but a lot of people will tell you, get your fur saver and make a big deal about your fur saver and jingle it in your hand and then put it on your dog's head. And when you put that fur saver on your dog's head, in the beginning you should give him a treat or play ball and activate him. And then the dog will know that when the fur saver comes on his head, he should become activated and he should be excited and show a lot of drive and enthusiasm and going crazy, when you put that fur saver on their head. And, in theory it sounds great, but my debate is this. What is the first thing you do at a trial? Usually, you track. Get out of the car, put that fur saver on that dog's head. What do you think he's going to do?
Get excited. Want to play.
Yeah. So, I don't know about you guys, but for tracking, I want my dog concentrated and focused and almost in that Zen mode, just kind of in that deep concentration. I don't want him to be barking and carrying on and whining and jumping around and thinking he's going to play ball. I want him concentrated. So I don't want to activate him with the fur saver, not in my obedience, not in my protection, not in my tracking, but I want to teach the dog that there is trial prep and there is things that we do before we step on the field. And so here is what I always do. I always have a collar like this on my dog, some kind of buckle collar with a tag on it, because I love my dog, and if my dog gets lost or runs away or gets stolen, everybody knows whose dog it is. So I know they're microchipped and this and that. But
Everybody doesn't have a microchip reader at their house.
yeah, but if the dog gets loose in the neighborhood and you're out of town trialing, or the crate comes open and you're not around and God forbid someone else grabs your dog, they can look at it and say, oh, this is Steve and Rachel's dog Ace. So,
good luck grabbing Ace.
Yeah, but anyway, most people have this style collar available, and you can use this style flat collar for leisurely walks, for taking them to the park, taking them to Home Depot, PetSmart, socializing your dog. It's not really a training collar, it's just a collar that's on the dog every day. And 90% of them have some type of buckle, or they have a snap. And what I recommend is your training collar. And, I'm talking about a motivational device. Some people refer to it as the electric collar. The electric collar has a buckle on it also. And what happens in a trial is, they get the dog out and they activate him and they put on the fur saver and they get him all excited and they put the fur saver on and they take the electric collar off and the dog goes on the field and he gets away with murder. Literally. He won't run the blinds. He won't out. He's dirty in the blind. He won't heel. And people saying, what happened? What happened? What happened? Well, the dog understood that you took the electric collar off, and there's nothing around his neck to, so he has to pay attention. So my theory is simply this. Always keep this dog on your dog all the time. Make sure it's the same buckle that your electric collar is. Whether it's a buckle collar or a snap, make sure it's the same style as your pet collar that's on your dog every day. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then what you do is when you get your dog out of the truck And before you go on the training field to train, you take this collar off. You unbuckle it, you take it off. You make a big deal about it. You take this collar off, you go on the field, the electric's still on your dog, and you go train. And the dog doesn't think nothing about it. And then the dog associates, oh, when the pet collar, he unbuckles that thing, then we're gonna go train. Obedience and protection. And I don't know why, but when he unbuckles that collar, I've got to pay attention and listen because, I may get in trouble if I don't. So on the day of the trial, that morning or the night before or whenever, you can take this collar off very casually, not thinking nothing about it. The day of the trial, get your dog out of the truck, and then you undo your electric collar. Same style buckle this was. It's the same thing. The collar comes off, the dog thinks, oh man,
It's time to work.
it's time to work.
That collar comes off.
The
I
collar
have
comes
to work.
off, and I'm going on the field to work. It's the same thing.
They don't know the difference between this collar and the electric collar because they don't see it.
The buckle's the same.
Yeah.
And you make sure the buckle is the same, whether it's a snap or whether it's a lace and buckle style, but you make a big deal about the collar coming off before you go on that field, not about putting a collar on before you go on the field. So that's my thought on that whole process,
So think about it. Don't let it go over your head.
Yeah,
But don't overthink it.
Yeah, don't overthink
But
it.
it is important because on the day of the trial, you can't have the collar on him.
Yeah.
So it's important that they know when you take that off, it's time to work.
It's time to work. Yeah. So, like I said, in training, we always take this off. As soon as they come out of the truck, they have their training devices on. We take the pet collar off. We go to work. If they mess up, they get in trouble. If they do good, they get rewarded. On the day of the trial, this is somewhere else, and the electric comes off. Same style buckle. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Something to think about, guys.
But I've seen you do it, so
Yeah,
makes
so-
sense.
We've got some other exciting news coming up in the near future. We'll talk
Lots
about
of trials happening.
Yeah, it's trial season, so there's a bunch
It's
of
fun.
good stuff. I think the WSB is this weekend.
Yep.
They're already doing the scores, so
Yep,
it's
yep,
good
yep.
stuff. I'm following that. Got some friends over there competing, so it's fun, good, exciting stuff. Y'all have a blessed day, and we will talk to you guys soon.
Goodbye.